Hello there, welcome to this tutorial on building an app and preparing it for the App Store. Our previous videos gave you an overview of the app code builder layout, which we'll be using today, and gave you the rundown on all the tools you'll need to go from zero to fully functional app ready for the market. For today's demo, we'll make a new app, and we'll call this one Cookie Monster. This will be an app to rate and find the best cookies in your local area. Now mind you, if we actually did this, we would definitely have to research copyright issues to make sure we weren't violating licenses with this app, since there's the classic Sesame Street character by the same name. But we won't actually be releasing this, we're just building it for demo purposes, so you can see exactly how all this works. So first things first, we name our new app. Then we'll upload a nice icon image for it. And again, you need to make sure that you own the image, of course, or that it's in the public domain. And your icon needs to be 72 pixels by 72 pixels. But if you upload a larger image, then the app code builder will have you crop it. And when you're happy, click Save. Now let's actually go straight to Screens and Actions. And again, while most builders charge you per plugin, you'll find that we've loaded you up with over $500 worth of free plugins ready to go. And we'll keep adding more and more as time goes by. So let's have a look through these and pick some actions and screens that are appropriate for our Cookie Monster app. We can click on anything we like here, and we see a full description of what it does. We can see screenshots, and so on. Now for this app, of course, we want it to be open to everybody, but at the same time, since we're rating user experiences, we don't want just anyone and everyone logging in and making comments, and if a user is abusing the system, we'll want to be able to go ahead and take care of that. So we'll use the password splash. To use it, we'll just come up here to the Choose Plugin Type, which is listed by category, go to Password Splash, give it a nickname for our index, and we'll add it. And of course, we also want a location map, and we'll also include a simple menu. So you get the idea. Just explore your options here and put in all the plugins that are appropriate for what you want to do with your app. Then we'll click on Screens and Actions again to access our choices, and we can configure these one by one. For instance, in our password properties, we want serious members only, but let's not make them log in every time they launch the app, because that's really annoying. So we'll select Password Properties, Yes, only require once. Let's go to Animation Settings and have our splash screen shrink away. And now let's go back to our Screens and Actions and configure our buttons. We'll have a button called Found One for a great cookie find, and we'll add it to our menu button screen. And we'll also have another called Blech for a bad cookie find. And we can even add sound effects to our buttons. By pressing Select, our File Manager is going to pop up, and from here we can upload a file. Again, if your app is for the public marketplace, you're going to need to own any of the files that you use. And then we'll add it to our button menu. And once you have more than one menu button going, you can change the order here and update. And now that we have a couple of screens and actions happening, now let's go to our Layout and Tabs category. If you've got a complex app with lots of features, then you may want to use the tabbed layout. But for our app, which is pretty simple with just a couple of features, we'll use the non-tabbed layout. We can also go to Global Settings here if we want to create a theme across the entire app. So unlike your options within the Screens Actions configuration, which would make changes only to that screen or action, with Global Settings we can make app-wide changes. I'll add one here and call it Blue, and when I click on it, I can handle the navigation bar colors and style, the screen background, I can add an image for the background, etc. And this will apply to all of my screens and actions. Now once we're happy with our app and with all of its features, we'd actually like to test it out and see how it looks and how it feels and functions. So let's go back to our application home and click Download Source Code. In this case, we'll be making an app for the Apple App Store to function on iOS devices. Now for Android, check out the following video on how to do just that. So we'll click Prepare Our Package, and the app code builder will take all of those commands, functions, and settings and produce code for it all. Then once it's ready, download that zip file. Now we'll unpack this and we'll have a look at its contents. This is great. We have all we need to build our app, but as you can see, we've got loads of different files here, and we need to make one single binary file, or an app. And that's why the App Code Builder has also given you this Xcode project file. So for this, we need Xcode. So hopefully you've checked out the previous tutorial on what you need, and you've already downloaded the version of Xcode that you're going to use. So we'll click on our Xcode project file here to launch Xcode. Now while this program does many things and it's used by many different types of developers, we're just using it to compile our code. It goes without saying that Xcode is a powerhouse that will allow you to do so much more, but that's for a different tutorial. All that we're going to do is compile all of our code into one binary file. Now it would take way too long to explain why Xcode doesn't do this automatically for you, but you'll have to drag in some folders into your project manually. And that's the BT plugins, images, docs, video, and sound. And double check that you didn't accidentally include any duplicates here. So all we need to do is come up here to select what kind of simulator we want to run it through. I'll select this iPhone. Then we click Build and Run the current scheme. So obviously there's a lot of complicated work going on here behind the scenes, but that's not something we need to worry about today. When it's done, up comes your simulator, and you can poke around and see how your app looks and functions. If you go back into the App Code Builder and make any changes to your installed plugins, those get logged into the system and you don't need to take any further action. Xcode will use your btconfig file to ask the App Code Builder for your settings, which are in the App Code Builder database. However, if you install an entirely new plugin after downloading the source code package, then you'll need to manually insert that plugin into your local btconfig file. For instance, let's say you've already tested your app, but you decided that you also want to add a PowerPoint doc plugin. So we'll go to Screens and Actions and add PowerPoint doc and nickname it PowerPoint. Then you'll go to Configuration Data, search for the nickname you gave it, and find its item ID line. Here it is. In order for this newly installed plugin to show up, you'll need to copy this line and paste it into your local btconfig file on your machine. By this point, you should understand the basics of the App Code Builder and how to run it through Xcode in order to generate a single app file or application. And this you can find within your project folder, in Build, and then the folder of the device you simulated it on. Or make a quick search for your project name with the app extension. And if you join the Apple Developers Program, you'll be able to submit this app for consideration to be included in the App Store. And that's it. Thanks for watching, and we hope this helped.